here on this incredibly important occasion. We're delighted here at the Columbia University Middle East Research Center to be hosting the conference, 100 Years of Journalism, an international conference in commemoration of the centenary of Falastin newspaper. I want to, in particular, thank our sponsors, Mr. Safwan Masri and Royal Jordanian Airlines. And I would like to recognize Dr. Noha Khalaf, whom I'll be introducing in a couple of minutes. Dr. Noha is a visiting fellow at the center here, and she has worked tirelessly and spearheaded this conference passionately and through very hard work, and she has brought it to life. So thank you, Dr. Noha. Just by way of introduction, I think I know most of you. I'm Professor Safwan Masri, Director of the Columbia University Middle East Research Center, one of a network of 7 global centers that Columbia University has or will very soon open around the world. I'm especially delighted that the Middle East Research Center, the Amman Center, is the first of these global centers and the first time in more than a quarter of a millennium that Columbia University has waved its flag outside of Manhattan. I'm further delighted that the Columbia University Center in Amman has been recognized as the leader in this network and has been asked to lead the effort in helping other centers and serve as a model for them. We have centers in Beijing, Mumbai, Paris. We will open in November in Istanbul, in January in Santiago, Chile, and in March in Nairobi, Kenya. The idea behind these centers is to engage our faculty and students in the various regions of the world to learn more about the world and contribute to its development. And this conference today is really a prime example of that. One of the things that the center does is that it hosts an Institute for Scholars, or a program for visiting scholars and fellows, which was launched last year, and 11 visiting fellowships and scholarships were awarded, among them the one that Dr. Noha has. She's been with us since May of last year. And the idea behind this institute and this program is to attract researchers from around the world who can pursue their own projects which focus on a range of disciplines pertaining to the center's mission and activities. This program has been generously supported by the Jordan Scientific Research Support Fund, represented here by Dr. Nasri Al-Rabadi. This is an incredibly significant conference, not only because it deals with Palestine and an issue that is very dear to all of us, but it cuts across various disciplines, including the humanities, social sciences, history, philosophy, anthropology, literature, media, and communications. We have a wide range of speakers who have come from the US, the UK, Germany, France, Syria, and Palestine, of course, in addition to our speakers from Jordan. To highlight a few of them, the participation of important voices and top experts include Professor Rashid Al-Khalidi, the Edward Said Professor of Arab Studies at Columbia University, and the champion of the Center for Palestinian Studies, which was recently launched at Columbia University. We have Ilan Pape, who is fellow and director of the European Center for Palestine Studies at Exeter University. We have our well-renowned novelist, Sahar Khalifa, just to name a few of the luminaries we will be hearing from for the rest of the day and tomorrow. This is an opportunity to celebrate the centenary of an invaluable newspaper and its contribution to the political, cultural, and social landscape of Palestine and the region as a whole. It's equally a tribute to the key role of the press, both as a tool for the transmission of information, for freedom of expression, and for the forging of public opinion. The issue of global press freedom is something that our president at Columbia University, Lee Bollinger, has authored on, and he's a scholar in First Amendment, and we have launched a very important project dealing with global press freedom. And this past November, we hosted a conference here at the center linked up to a conference that was going on in New York City on this very topic. So with that brief introduction, let me turn to introducing Dr. Noha Khalaf. As I mentioned, she's a visiting fellow at the center, and she's been with us since May of last year. She was previously an assistant professor in political sociology at the Faculty of Law of the University of Constantine in Algeria. She's held subsequent posts as a specialized researcher in international affairs. She is an associate member at l'Institut Maghreb Europe of the University of Paris and of the International Center of Research on Peace and Strategic Studies in Paris. Dr. Noha has published several research papers in Arabic, French, and English in شؤون فلسطينية, الفكر الاستراتيجي العربي, القدس العربي, and the Jerusalem Quarterly, among others. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Dr. Noha Khalaf to address.
Hello, Her Highnesses, honorable guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by thanking you all for honoring us today with your presence. At last, the stage has been set for our conference, which is held in commemoration of the Centenary of Falastin, the newspaper founded in Jaffa by Isa al-Isa in 1911, an event constituting an important landmark in the history of the press of the Middle East. The actors on our stage are very, very special and fascinating people. They are not only those who are here today. Many of them have passed away, but they will be present with us through their writings, their works, and ideas. Many are living in the present world, but are far away. Many others should have been here today, but for various reasons could not come. The word commemoration is in fact a combination of two words, community and memory. Commemorating the founding of Palestine, which was established 100 years ago, means remembering together as a community, whether the community is a global community of scholars or a national, regional, or local community. It means activating a collective memory of something which was past in order to understand the present. It does not therefore mean speaking only about the past, but assessing the present and visualizing the future. The act of remembering consequently becomes a present act with a window to the future. As Edward Said, the late Professor Edward Said has stated, appeals to the past are among the commonest of strategies in interpretations of the present. What animates such appeals is not only disagreement about what happened in the past and what the past was, but uncertainty about whether the past is really past, over and concluded, or whether it continues, although in different forms, perhaps. When we deal with the past, therefore, we may subject it to various interpretations. Some might be in contradiction one with another, meaning that there is room for debate and discussion, and it is only through the opposition between different viewpoints that we may hopefully reach a creative synthesis. In order to prepare for our event today, many people have worked very hard to make it happen. One of the main actors is Professor Safwan Masri, the dedicated, dynamic, and bright director of CUMERC, who by his monumental efforts at fundraising has made the holding of this conference possible. Other very special actors are the CUMERC staff who have worked hard in organizing this event. Hania Salah, who has artistically coordinated all the logistics. Hala Zahran, who followed up with precision the detailed hard work. Nadine Kharouba, the operations manager, who did her best to make everyone comfortable and happy. Tanya Sawabini, who has played an indispensable role in communications and reach out. Ruba Kaluti, whose help in bringing everyone today is unmeasurable. Farah Abdur and Noor Bataini, who prepared with perfection the documentation. And of course, Rita Salame, Chief of Staff of CUMERC, who has been quietly facilitating our work with a beautiful smile. Many distinguished speakers here today have come from different corners around the globe and from various Palestinian cities and universities, from Haifa, Jaffa, Jerusalem, Ramallah, and Bethlehem. We also have a guest from Damascus, but he's Palestinian. From Haifa, we have the famous novelist Salman Natour, who is present with us today. From Jaffa, Sami Abu Shhadi. From Jerusalem, Adnan Abdelrazi and Albert Aghazarian, from the holy city of Jerusalem. From the University of Bizet in Ramallah, Professor Saleh Abdeljawad and Samih Shbib. From Bethlehem University, Professor Kostandi Shomali, and from Al-Najah University, Ala Abu Dir. Among our very special distinguished guests are, of course, Professor Rashid Khalidi, the prominent history professor, who holds the Edward Said Chair of Arab Studies, and Ilan Pape from Exeter University, a Middle East historian whose work about the past and future of the Middle East has been groundbreaking. Other distinguished historians today with us are Maher Sharif, Michel Campos, Andrea Stanton, Randy de Guillem, Philippe Bourmeau, and René Wildangel. Aida Bamia, a distinguished literature professor, along with Sahar Khalifa, the notorious Palestinian novelist, and Fadia Abdelhadi, will honor us with a session on gender and women writers in Palestine, along with Makram Khouri Makhul, the media specialist who came from London, who will, I hope, not feel genderly outnumbered in this endeavor. Last but not least are our guest speakers from the Jordanian University, who will reveal the importance of Palestine in the reconstruction of the history of Jordan, George Tarif, Hind Abu Shar, and Zuhair Ghunayim. We have been greatly honored by the participation of very distinguished chairpersons from the Jordanian University, Professor Adnan Bakhit, head of Bilad al-Sham Department in the Faculty of History, and Professor Humam Ghassib, the distinguished physics professor, and Basma Dajani, the bright young professor of Andalusian literature. Mohammed Tarbouche, an Oxford graduate and professional banker, has also kindly accepted to honor us with his presence in order to chair and share with us this event. Finally, we have a group of young researchers and PhD candidates who will attempt to visualize the future of journalism, namely Lina Jailat, Romain Bonvoisin, and Nofret. Behind all this is Isa al-Isa and his contemporaries, يوسف العيسى، خليل السكاكيني، يعقوب فراج، أحمد سامح الخالدي، إسعاف النشاشيبي, and many others whose struggles in view of promoting Palestinian culture and freedom of speech against all odds have inspired me with the idea of this commemoration. And finally, there is myself, who for the past year, as a visiting fellow at QMERC, have worked hard to put together some of the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle in an attempt to reconstruct some gaps in Palestinian history through the memoirs of Isa al-Isa and the archives of Palestine, one of the longest-lived newspapers in the history of 20th century Palestine. Many pieces are still missing in the big jigsaw puzzle. Some might be discovered today, many others have still to be discovered, and the effort shall be ongoing throughout the remaining months, during which we also have to keep on searching for the missing, lost, and seized archives of Palestine. Moreover, we aim to publish a book about the centenary, which will be based on the papers at this conference, including pictures and documents concerning the lifespan of Palestine. Finally, I hope that the papers presented in the next 2 days, as well as the various debates, will turn out to be an engaging, exciting exercise for all of you and an important occasion for a clear reassessment of our regional history. Thank you. Hello again. We will start our new session now. Chairing the session will be Dr. Adnan Bakhit, the famous historian from the Jordanian University, and the speakers will be Professor Rashid al-Khalidi, Professor Kostandi Shomali, and Professor Michel Campos, and their topic will be about 100 years of journalism. Does that mean forging a nation? Thank you.